Thanks to research done by groups like Dr. Aronsen and his team, we're able to take a look at animals that lived long ago and examine them in new ways, to take a look at what their lives were like when they lived, what their environment was like, what their diet was like. And we're able to get a better understanding of the environments that they lived in, both long before we started keeping track, as well as long before we had the kind of impact on them that we do today.
So, as we were talking about before, one of the things that I work on is looking at the skeletons of individual animals. And from the kind of work that I do and the work that you're interested in as well, is we're really trying to understand, well, there's the evolutionary history of these animals or these individuals. So there's a human skull here on one side and a chimpanzee on the other. They're really closely related. But on another level, and one of the things that I've been doing here at the museum has been trying to figure out, well, what's going on with this particular chimpanzee? What can I say about this? And so some of the things that I try to get at are, how old might this animal be? Is it a male or a female? Are there indications of their diet in terms of the wear on their teeth or staining on the dentition that's related to the kinds of leaves that they're eating and things like that? And so that's one of the things I'm always trying to get at when looking at bones, both for humans and for non-humans, to see what their lives might be like that might be etched in the bone themselves. There's limitations on what we can say and not say based on what the osteological evidence is. But once we see particular patterns or features, at least it tells us a little bit more about what may have happened to that particular animal.
At this point, it was safe to say that we were past the halfway point of our trip. We had met with 4 out of the 5 experts that we had planned to meet with, and we had visited 5 out of the 6 destinations. We'd learned so incredibly much about the ways that zoos, museums, universities, and field researchers engage in animal conservation, both directly and indirectly, through scientific research, public outreach and education, and through governmental advocacy as well. But what about the animals? We've learned so much about how brilliant and noble individuals and groups dedicate their lives to the causes of animal and environmental conservation. But honestly, we haven't really gotten a whole lot of good news. And so this was kind of weighing on our minds as we slowly made our way through the remainder of Connecticut and eventually into New York, where we once again started seeing the effects that public policy can have on environmental causes when just putting pressure on individuals to be better isn't really the answer.
So we've been on a bike path in New York City for a while now, completely separated from cars except for crosswalks like the one that's about to come up. Just a second. And I just can't help but think yes, bikeways and cycling reduce congestion in general, but something like this that lets you get around New York with the type of congestion that cities like this see, which you'll see right now. Look at this. Look at this. This is decently congested behind us. But where we're headed, nothing. It's gotta be so awesome for so many people to be able to get around.
Walk it down.
Yeah, and when it comes to cities that are congested like this, bikeways are always going to be a shortcut. Lots of thinking about the people we met and looking at the disparate areas. Just thinking more and more of the onus, the burden of conservation being shifted onto the individual, and what that actually means.
That onus is kind of a heavy one. I think a lot of people spend a lot of time thinking about what they can do, on their end to improve things. But at this point in our tour, we were really starting to grapple with that. We're seeing more and more areas in which people probably don't have the means to do a whole lot, but we're also seeing in those same areas where policies could really facilitate people's quality of life being improved in ways that inadvertently also improve the environment. And we're not talking just orangutans here. There are fragile and threatened environments and species wherever you're living. And that's the type of stuff that in the context of what we were doing really permeated the conversation on our way to the west side of Manhattan. We literally just got into our Airbnb. Julie's tired, so my 58 miles turned into probably like 65. My bike's along that wall. It's 7 feet long, but doesn't quite fit. And queen bed. And Julie's bike. And we can just close the door. Now, we have to shower and eat all of the food. Our stay in New York was a short one. We got to a room on the West End pretty late, and we got up pretty early and made our way to the ferry across the Hudson into New Jersey. But as we biked down the west side of the island and along the Hudson River Greenway, we were really just struck by how different the city is on a bicycle. New York is known for being such a hectic and fast-paced city with high tempers and frustrated energies. And, you know, we saw that with all the stop traffic and car horns next to us. We were just kind of gliding along on our bicycles, and we were seeing the sights of this city and experiencing how incredible the city is, but without any of those drawbacks of being, you know, snarled in traffic. And it just really became even more poignant. It's such an incredible way to see the city. And it ties in so well to the reason that we're in the city in the first place. We are on the Hudson River Greenway, which is kind of awesome. It brought us through Central Park. We are off to New Jersey today. In like 5.5 or so miles, we are taking a ferry, which is going to be kind of cool. We're going to be in New Jersey for a few days. We have tomorrow off completely. No filming, no biking, nothing but resting, repacking in a sensible manner, and generally hanging out. New York apparently so values its Hudson Valley bike path, bike lane thing. We have our own traffic lights. And we haven't been going faster than many of the cyclists, but we've definitely been going faster than that traffic. We keep getting way ahead of that guy. He owned the cement truck. He only caught us because we stopped at this light. It's green now. And just like that, we are on the other side of the Hudson. That was way faster than I thought it was going to be. Julie's still here. That's her right there. Yep, so Rhode Island done, Connecticut done, New York done. Welcome to New Jersey. Well, there's apparently a protected bike path that crosses over whatever this body of water was on that bridge on I-9 entering Kearney, New Jersey. And things like that truck that just passed us were passing us the entire time. We walked over most of the bridge, but we pretty much kept pace with traffic because car traffic is the worst. But yeah. I'm having conflicted feelings about Jersey so far because being born in New York, you're taught that it's the worst place ever. Here is kind of gross, but it's like just got off the highway, truck stoppy, and it smells awful. But we'll see as we go along. Okay, a couple miles later, and this is officially the worst. Our directions are confusing. Everything is just tractor trailers. This is going to be tricky to figure out. Really, it was fine. That one spot in Kearney, it was more or less where every highway in the country converged. So it was really hectic and loud and smelly, but after we got past that area, it was fine. There were bike lanes, there were courteous drivers. It was generally a laid-back feel until we reached Newark, at which point we had a different problem. An injury. Probably a moderate to severe knee issue. Alright, now we're in the Newark train station.
Nothing super emergency, I don't think. We don't think. Julie, her knee has been feeling kind of so she's not comfortable biking right now. So we might, looks like we're going to catch a train from Newark to New Brunswick.
And if he decides that he don't want those bikes on there, he can tell you no.
Okay, well, there's a chance the conductor might not want us on there, but it's looking pretty good. So fingers crossed that we don't have to rent a car and drive because Julie can't bike today.
Right.
Yeah, I'm standing with the bikes now. Julie is right there getting our tickets. It's up to the discretion of the conductor whether or not he wants our bikes on his train. But the woman said that, explain that you were biking, you hurt your knee, can't bike anymore, and she doesn't think there will be any problem. That would be really kind of ideal. We have several days off in New Brunswick. It's looking right now like we might skip Philly and rent a car from New Brunswick. I have some video of orangutans from the Frankfurt Zoo this past summer. I'm sure Catherine has some video she can share with us. Aaron probably has some footage of orangutans. I'm sure we'll be able to make it awesome without the Philly Zoo. So if this is the end of our biking, it's the end of our biking. But Julie's knee is way more important than biking through New Jersey. So still remains to be seen what happens, but it's looking pretty good. Well, we made it. We're separated by cars because my bike is so damn big, but we are on the train, New Brunswick bound. We'll see how far it is to get to our room tonight. Like I said, it's our room for the next few days, so we have plenty of time to regroup and sort out what's going to happen next. Off we go. Okay, it's like 4:30. We just got into our room in New Brunswick. It's super cute in like a your grandma's house when you were a kid kind of way. Like random ceramic bits everywhere. It has kind of a weird familiar smell to it, but it's really cute. I like it, and it's a nice neighborhood, a nice area in general. And there's plenty of room for our bikes. Which obviously, if there's plenty of room for my bike, there's plenty of room for like the bikes of 10 people who aren't me. But yeah, we're doing it, and now we get to sort of regroup and figure out the next plan of action regarding the knee situation. Also, we're gonna shower and we're gonna eat. We're gonna eat quite a bit. And eat we did. I didn't know it, but New Brunswick has some awesome food. Pizza, but
well, there's a place called Stuff Your Face right over there. It's probably that tan building above the roof.
Oh, well, maybe we'll go there. I think our diet for the next couple days consisted mostly of ice cream and Korean barbecue. But we did a lot. We walked around the city a lot. We visited a bike shop. And I got to reconnect with an old friend. In 2013, I spent the summer in a very remote region of Kenya called Kubifora as part of a field school, where I worked collecting data and generally researching our earliest ancestors. It's difficult to convey the experience of living in a tent in a place that's really difficult to find on a map, with a bunch of people that you never even met, and it's difficult to explain how close you become.
How are you?
Really
Good to see you.
Stuff your face.